Yeah, it's a bit dark at the moment, but I think you've summed it well. Just lots of opportunities, just really, probably our skill set in looking after the ball just wasn't up to it. Um, Perhaps our decision making around our set piece wasn't up to it when we got into the right areas as well. Um, I think the frustration more than anything else was just we got ourselves into the right places, which is what was a big thing from the previous game, and then from then on it was about execution and actually just getting into a system. And you could see once we built a bit of momentum, we really could really build some pressure. Yeah. Red card probably hurt us a bit because, as you know, when you've got 14 guys in the field, everyone else has to fight that much harder. And it takes a lot of energy away from you. But I don't think anyone goes out into the field to intentionally hurt other people. So, probably a bit of a brain fog moment there, but, he learned.
Yeah, because I wanted to say also throughout the game, you had your moments, difficult and good moments in the scrums and lineouts. You won a few lineouts against Hetero, but also lost some of your own. But also conceded quite a few penalties in the scrums. That made life difficult.
Yeah, I mean, like as I said to the boys after the game, I said, if your set piece doesn't function at Test rugby, you pretty much got no chance, really. And today, I think we had two in there, 22 lineouts, and we didn't convert, we didn't get the ball back, so we had to scramble there. We have to go back and look at the video and really understand what was going on in the scrums. But yeah, clearly we didn't get ascendancy, which is something that we'd really hope to do today. And yeah, that starts working against you because it just takes away so much energy, and it just, you have to find other ways to fight and stay in the game.
Just one more from me, Bafana. At least, I mean, this is still. I know you wanted to win the tournament, but it's still all part of the bigger picture of the Junior World Cup. And there were some real positives to the defense. I thought, particularly in that first half, the guys showed real fighting spirit. And so some of the guys stood up, like Batabele Hlekani with his ball carries, the number 81 Jacobs, Jorenzo again, and others.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Obviously, it's probably nicer to learn while you're winning. It's not nice to be sitting on this side of it. So, you know, we understand what this is about. All the teams made changes today, massive changes. We understand that it's about the learning process and the development of players. That never really goes away from us. And we're also probably getting some answers around, the players, where they're at, what they need to work on going forward. The only way they can get that is through these type of matches and these types of pressures. Again, it would have just been nicer to be on the learning side while you're winning. I guess we got our backs against the wall now from that perspective. So we just have to make sure that we find ways to get better for Argentina and show that we are learning and we are actually moving in the right direction.
Thanks, Ashfaq. Nathan?
Thank you very much, Ray. We've got a couple of questions. Firstly, Coach Bafana, on the attack aspect, there seems to be a continuous lack in momentum, probably stems from losing ball at breakdown, handling errors, and again, the line is not functioning. Are these areas of concern moving forward, especially in the first half of both games that I've seen so far?
Oh, yeah, Nathan, I think you do end up concerning yourself with them because if they're not really working, you have to figure out why they're not working and what is the detail that's missing in and around that. You want to be in a situation where you're building a bit of momentum, you're keeping ball. Maybe you're not making the right decision, but we're not even getting into positions to make the right or wrong decisions because we're not really able to look after the ball very, very well at the moment. So, yeah. It's if it's happened 2 games in a row, it's something that we obviously need to zone in on. Not that we haven't been, but yeah, we need a little bit more attention to that.
There seems to be a trend of from all the teams with the squad rotations. New Zealand had 9 changes, Australia had 10 changes in the starting lineups. A lot on the line on the final day on Sunday. Should we expect the strongest and informed players to play Sunday against Argentina? Now that we've seen, as you mentioned, you've seen the capabilities of your players.
I think it's a combination of both. Obviously, some guys that played against some guys that played against New Zealand will come into the reckoning, and probably some guys that played today will come into the reckoning as well. The idea again is to make sure that we expose as many guys, pressure situations as possible, and potentially guys that we think we might, dare I say, take forward. We've only got 31 guys here, but yeah, we'll probably try to get to the best possible. There's a few guys that are quite banged up and injured, so we'll see what we look like at the end of it.
Then finally, is it
Nathan?
frustrating?
No?
No, I'm listening.
Oh, apologies. Is it frustrating knowing that your side is quite a physical side? I mean, a lot of people have mentioned this, but struggle to capitalize that pressure into points.
Extremely. I think it's, I think you were sitting in our preview, Nathan, by the sounds of it, and in our review then preview. It's exactly that. It's we get ourselves into good positions. We do build pressure, and in different ways. We build pressure through our kicking game. We build pressure through our ball carries. From time to time we get to good places with our backs because we do have backs that can play. But consistently we just sort of seem to just release that pressure.
Okay, thank you, Nathan. Newsroom. Keenan.
Thanks, Ryan. Hi,
Thanks.
Bafana. I was just
How's it
wondering.
asking?
All good. Good to hear from you again. I was just in terms of the conditions on the weather.
Keenan, sorry, you just have to speak up. We're in an area where it's a bit noisy. Just
Okay.
speak up a bit if you don't mind.
No problem. Bafana, just with regards to the weather. You've obviously is the team playing you the way you want them to play? With regards to just the back line and the way the team has been going, or have you been stifled a bit by the conditions, and how has the conditions how have you struggled, or how has the team adapted to the conditions? Have they adapted the way you wanted them to?
I think the weather's probably it's pretty wet, and it's in both games, it's probably had some sort of impact, but more so in our skill set, and it's something that we just have to be better at. There's two teams that are playing with the same rugby ball on the same field. We've got our way that we want to go about it. When you're not keeping ball, you can't really look to the weather every single time. There's also a skill element to it where we need to be a little bit better. I think as a group we've adapted because, since we've been here, we've probably had 2 days of sunshine, which was yesterday and the day before, and then a little bit this morning. So it's just something we've gotten used to, and we're not really sure what we're going to get in the Cape Winters. But if last year's anything to go by, you have to be prepared for a similar, I guess maybe not as rainy, but just similar sort of conditions.
And then finally, how concerning is the set pieces for you? Considering Australia struggled last week against Argentina, so to struggle again, for you to struggle against them, is that a massive concern for you?
The games are interesting again in the context. I think we got 2 or 3 scrum penalties against New Zealand, and today New Zealand completely dominated Argentina from the little that I saw. So it's really just about trying to understand, where we're not getting that consistency, and I'm not sure how much the changes had an impact today. Obviously, line out wise, I think maybe it's in and around decision making more than anything else. And it's, if you don't win that ball, and if it's not working, of course it is concerning. The biggest thing out of that is how do we go back and find ways to fix it?
Thank you.
Okay, guys, I think that's about it. Everyone had a chance, unless there's 1 or 2 questions more. I think we'll wrap up. Thank you very much. All good?
Nathan?
Good,
Last one.
Yeah, Ray. I just got a couple of questions, if I may, or one question, or
Just
Okay,
one more.
great.
Yeah?
just on defense, unnecessary cynical red card and yellow card, discipline issues which costs the side a bit. Playing for 26, 27 minutes with 14 players, and then a cut-up passes again, beating last man defense, exposing the outside backs. defensive system issues that was identified from the New Zealand game?
Yeah, Nathan, you're probably right, but I mean, I think in terms of those passes, they probably came once we were a man down. The red card again, I'm not sure if it was. I mean, I don't think it was intentional, and I don't think anyone goes onto the field to hurt anyone. And we clearly, I mean, we want to play tough, but within the laws of the game, and that's quite a clear message to our players. But all I can say for the players that, I mean, he has to learn from this. The last one. Yeah, I'm not sure. Obviously, penalty try. It comes on the back end of they lost the ball and on the way to score. They had a head shot, which I guess in a different probably didn't impact the game against our 15 or reserve 15 anyway. So discipline is always going to cost you. I thought in terms of you speak about those cutout passes. I thought. And a part of it is that teams are going to obviously fancy their chances because of how we defend. They're going to try to get around us. And we know that will happen once or twice, but we had one resultant try from that, which again, you make the tackle, you actually stop it. So it was a missed tackle more than it was them sort of really, stretching us and getting around us. They defend differently. When we carry through them, we get to make meters, we get to build pressure. So, it's a time thing. It's a cohesion thing, especially from a defensive point of view with those passes, with the right decision making. I still believe, 20 minutes down, 14, with 14 players, and they barely get anything, and then we actually create an error that allows them to score. So you can also look at it from that point of view and say, geez, probably very good defense. I hope. I think.
On my last question, if I may, Ray, you touched briefly on my last question. Do you feel sometimes you get hard done by, especially at line-out time? Because I did something that I'd noticed in both of the games, especially with the line-outs. The officials seem to be calling the use it or lose it call pretty early in the game, which obviously stops your guys' momentum. Clearing off of ball stuff, not cited again, happened against New Zealand.
Yeah, we're not going to bash the refs. I had a good chat to the head of the referees just now about a couple of things that we obviously picked up. And I always believe that every referee goes out to try to be as fair as possible. There's things that we see and maybe we think they should be flagged. In terms of the lineouts and the mauls, I mean, there is a law that has come in, especially that's going to be introduced. You're allowed to have one go, and if it stops, you must use the ball. But what's effectively happened is that, I mean, we pretty much at the trial and error stage, there was an instance today where I think we carried, and as we got momentum, the ref said use it. And, speaking to the head of ref, he said, probably a harsh call because we actually, we scored from that. And then we got, so kind of takes you back and changes a bit of momentum because, so it is difficult. But in as far as the other things around off the ball, I guess the referees in this tournament are also learning, they're also developing, they're also trying to get better, like our players. It's always tough with some of the decisions, especially when you're in the losing side. So I don't want to sound like I've got, sour grapes. I'd like to believe they try to be as fair as possible, but I did speak about the, some of the off the ball and breakdown work with the. With the head of refs, because we just want consistency that's going to help us be better not only for the world champs, but for the next game.
Thank you.